Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's LinkedIn Live, Jumpstarting Agentic AI in Procurement, All You Need to Know. AI in procurement is changing fast. It's no longer just about automating tasks. It's about intelligent agents that can make decisions, orchestrate complex workflows, and even adapt in real time. Today, we're diving into how this shift is transforming procurement, breaking down real world use cases, and exploring what leaders like you need to know to harness AI's full potential. And joining us to unpack it all is Kartikan Subramanian, VP of Consulting Services at GEP. Kartikan, let's jump right into it. What exactly is agentic AI and why is it such a big deal for procurement teams right now? And also, how is it really different from the automation we've done with RPA or even from Gen AI like ChatGPT and basic AI agents?
Hey, Alex. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Uh, Great question to start with. Let's start at the very top. Right, I'm going to give a long answer for this one. Imagine you tell a smart procurement analyst saying, "Oh, please get me an eco-friendly packaging within this budget by this date and follow our company rules." Uh, right? A traditional automation, what people call RPA, would say, tell me exactly where to click and in what order. And it will do that fast, but it will only do that, right? If anything changes, it gets confused. Gen A, on the other hand, what most folks know as ChatGPT, Gemini, and others, right? It can write beautiful text, uh, right? It can draft an RFX package, clean up an email, but by itself, it doesn't log into our systems. It doesn't check our policies. It doesn't leave a record of what we did or what it did. Uh, a basic AI agent is a step further. It can use tools like it can call an API, pull data, even post a draft. But unless it's grounded in your data and your rules, the quality can be uneven. Right? Agentic AI is different in one simple way. You give it a goal, it will figure it out. It will figure out the steps, use its tools or our tools, be it an ERP or anything, asks uh, you when it's unsure, follows the defined rules, shows where the facts come from, and leaves a clean trail of everything that it did. Okay. If I have to say it in a single line, right, in a catchy way, Gen AI writes, but agentic AI works inside your roles. And one of my favorite analogy is when people say, "Oh, what's different between this AI agents and agentic AI?" Right? Just consider a musician, right? A very dedicated, on a guitarist or a singer. That's a AI agent for us. They have one job and they do it very well. Agentic AI is more an like an orchestra, right? You have many players, they many AI agents who interact with each other and produce a symphony, right? Which is much larger than in what AI agent can do.
Okay, that definitely helps. If a team wants results this quarter, not next year, where can agentic AI add the most value right now, especially in places where we've got lots of manual handoffs?
Okay. Um, so if you're asking where do we use this first, the honest answer is use it where the work is repetitive, right? The rules are clear and the data already exist. Uh, Again, there are a lot of places where we can use. I have some favorites. Uh, First one for me would be a tailspend uh, desk agent, right? Think about all those small purchases scattered everywhere, which doesn't really get attention. And tailspend agent can group those together, smart, smartly pick up uh, and bundle things together and draft supplier outreach for you to approve. Um, and the second one for me would be contracts, probably the most uh, popular one in today's world. Instead of reading every clause one by one, the agent compares the draft to you against the approved language, flags the differences, even proposes the uh, right uh, fix, right? Then there is invoice processing. That's where the most impact has been made already in the world, right? My favorite, my regular, this thing is even in GEP we have found probably where we used 100 FTEs in the past. Now we are able to do things with 50, 60 FTEs, right? That's where tremendous strides have been made. Say when things don't match between the receipt and the PO, and you know the dance, right? Emails back and forth. The agent today collects the facts, explains the mismatch, suggests fixes, and reaches out to the right person. Right now, this all this clearing the backlog, everything happens much more efficiently, effectively, right? And the fourth one, probably my most favorite, is should cost agent, right? The agent can go very deep in understanding the cost components, their drivers, come up with great models. Um, so when I started my career 15, 20 years ago, I used to spend probably weeks together or even months on a particular should cost. Now things get done in few hours, right? Within a day. Uh, and yeah, these are just a few of the my favorites, and there are a lot of such agents you can create. Um, and yeah, to again reiterate, use it where the work is repetitive, rules are clear, and data already exist.
Got it. If we bring these agents into the mix, how does the operating model actually change day to day? And what does that mean for roles like the category manager and the sourcing lead?
That's a good question, Alex. Um, see, the way I see it, I think in the coming years, the our typical pyramid, right? The transactional sourcing, tactical sourcing, and then you have strategic sourcing, and then you have procurement, leadership, business partnering at the top. That's going to flip, right? That's going to flip. We're going to have lesser folks doing transactional tactical work, and we'll have more people doing the strategic business partnering work, right? On day to day, today most procurement professionals will stop being this button pushers and become outcome crafters, right? Instead of bragging that we sent 20 RFXs, uh, we would focus on securing the capacity at the right cost and minimal risk, as we ought to, right? The agents would do the routine steps. The teams would own the result. Okay. Reviews would move from say quarterly or monthly time frames to uh, maybe weekly or even daily, right? You would have agents pop up and say, you know what, the price has moved today, and the suppliers on time rate dipped this week, right? You would have a lot of those uh, fast tracking of work, and with links to proof. Obviously it's going to say why it's saying so. Hands off would get cleaner, and probably our example, our sourcing buyers would need to chase legal less. The agent would draft, compare, do the redlining, and give you exactly why the supplier is not willing to budge on particular clause. Right. And an example of a account payables buyer, um, maybe the whole catching the mismatches, going reaching out to the supplier and understanding the reason, all those things would be done by agents now. uh, I think if I have to say, policies become uh, living rules, okay, not PDFs that we hope people read. Right, the agents don't have a choice. They are going to read the policy and they're going to follow it. They would know the spend limits, approved clauses, who needs to sign off what, and it will follow them meticulously, religiously, right? And one question everyone asks is, do jobs go away? Most part, no. Some part, yes, but definitely the boring part will go away. Okay. The category manager becomes more of a portfolio coach. They will set the targets, they will set the guardrails, they will make the trade-offs the agent would come up with, right? They will lead the tricky negotiations, but yeah, all that is more strategic, more value adding. They'll reach out to, um, they'll be doing it, right? The sourcing lead, category manager, will become that flow orchestrator. Okay, they'll decide which agent does what and where the approvals will sit, uh, and I think that it will be that human plus the AI agents, right? Every uh, buyer, procurement professional is going to have this tiny army of agent ops, right? Who will do many tactical transactional work on real-time basis and come up with real-time insights, right? And I'm not going through this whole flow. I think there's going to be this day with your AI copilot, right? All those PR validation and saying, checking the contract availability, or drafting the RFQ package, creating or monitoring the supplier responses, following up with the suppliers, creating the side-by-side summary of the responses, giving targets to the suppliers, right, based on the should cost or based on uh, market uh, uh, insights, uh, and then giving you the whole award recommendation. That's going to happen or actually happening in a brilliant way.
Let's talk speed bumps. In the real world, what are the biggest blockers you see to adopting agentic AI? Things like trust, compliance, cost, or talent. And what's the practical way leaders can overcome them?
That's a brilliant question, Alex. Um, let's talk about what actually gets in our way, right? Why is AI adoption 100% today? But yeah, the first barrier is always trust, right? If people don't trust what the agent produces, they are not going to use it. So first thing we should start uh, doing is ask for receipts, right? Every recommendation that the agent does should show its sources, saying, I pulled this from your ERP on this date. Here is the contract clause I matched. Here is the performance chart. Um, uh, just maintain a action log. All right. When someone can see what the agent did and why, I think the conversation completely changes. I think the first is always the trust. Um, and once trust starts to build, I think the next one for us to tackle is compliance, right? Encode the rules upfront, spend limits, clause rules, approvals, who's blocked from the awards. Um, Keep humans in the loop, right? Most part, when we say humans in the loop, it's mostly humans at the start of the process and at the end of the process, right? That's where they're um, that when they say 80/20, that 80% is going to be there. Okay. And make the logs tamper proof, right? If you bring legal uh, or audit into the design, and when you say, oh, these are the logs, tamper proof, and you can always see why we did so or why the agent did so, they usually become allies. They see fewer surprises. Uh, then obviously comes the cost. Okay, the simplest way to avoid endless pilots is to fund the program from validated, verified outcomes, right? And I say this often: pick one lane, one metric, one quarter, focus there, get things, prove things there. If the needle moves, scale. If it doesn't move, fix and stop. Understand why things don't move. Okay, and finally, talent. Right, you don't need 100 new roles. Um, it's not a costly investment to move the needle on the AI ladder for your organization. You need one or two people who will own those guardrails, the logs, the need, they help to upskill buyers. So that's going to be the last one, talent. But again, I can give you a lot of examples of how we have helped our clients, right? And one of the recent ones in a high tech company, we came up with this thing on a weekly basis. We used to send a transparency report um, where the agent's top suggestions, the sources, and then what did the final that human in the loop decide, right? Whether they approve or rejected with the reason. We review that, we summarize that in the report, and we share it with the leadership, right? Adoption climbs or climbed because the whole thing felt open, uh, not mysterious. There's a pattern. That's right. Trust, then cost, and then you get the results.
Excellent. Thank you. So you work closely with the C-suite. How do you position agentic AI so it lands as a strategic enabler, not just another shiny tool? And what do you actually say to a CFO, COO, or CPO?
Great question, Alex. When we brief executive teams, right, we keep it very simple. Okay, this is the operating leverage with governance. Same people, more throughput, or lesser people, more throughput, fewer leaks, um, and risk management controls. Right. So people generally love it, but then I think it also, the messaging for each leader is very different. So let's say when we speak to a CFO, we connect the dots directly, right? We say fewer people, lesser cost, faster RFX to award, more compliance, more spend under management, fewer exceptions, more realized savings. These things generally show up in EBITDA and cash, so it's pretty straightforward conversation. For a COO or a CEO, I talk about standardizing best practices across region, reacting to daily or weekly, monthly supply risk, right? Um, so those things resonate well. For a CPO, it's pretty straightforward. Like become helps the team become more strategic and less time on tactical transactional activities. Right? We trade um, formatting for negotiating, and that's the job the CPOs really want their teams to focus on. Right? So it becomes very easy in that way. And, and just to be clear, right? And I never go in without a 90-day proof plan. Um, one lane, one metric, 1 month, 1 quarter, like side by side. Let's show the progress, right? What it was before uh, we started moving the needle, and what it is every week, every month when we went through, right? As adoption increases, we would see those numbers uh, change, and for the better. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. It is now time for us to get some audience questions. I see that we have some coming in the chat, and now would be the time for those of you who have a question for Kartiken to add it to the chat function. We'll get to all the questions we can. If we do not get to your question, we will follow up with you after this LinkedIn Live. So we'll start with the first one. Um, we already have RPA and workflow tools. How do we make the leap to agents, co-pilots, task agents, even orchestrated agents without breaking what already works?
Great question. And first of all, thanks for joining this session. Yeah, the safest way to evolve is climbing stairs hard way, right? I think for me the first step would be make the agent as a co-pilot, right? Let the agent draft the RFX, prepare the comparison, or propose the class recommendation, like fixes, right? And when a human approves everything, people get comfortable because nothing moves without their approval, right? And people start getting used to this fact. Okay, working with a agent makes their life um, simpler, effective, efficient. Okay. Second, promote this task agent to uh, uh, um, a bounded flow, right? Where it manages the complete end to end, right? It can run the RFX end to end, or it can check the contract completely, do multiple back and forth conversations with the supplier, right? And then third is that the larger the agentic orchestra, right? And add this, have this multiple um, agents start interacting with each other, like from the RFX, go to the contract negotiation agent, from the contract negotiation agent, um, um, go to the award approval agent. So you start having that defined handoffs and reduce those ping pongs. So keep the measurements and controls identical across all these steps, right? That way, the governance doesn't wobble, and people see that steady progress rather than just saying, "Oh, one day sudden everything changes and you guys have to start being okay with it." I think uh, the RPS tips, uh, whatever is today exists in your company, I think it's good. Just let it stay where it is. Let the agent take over the flow that needs judgment, right? That, and then um, and everyone looks at the same dashboard. You can actually compare the pre and post, and then decide how you want to take it up from there, right? And the dashboard should show you time, steps, deviations, blah blah, whatever those outcomes that you would want to measure, right? And then let the agent show outcomes, and then you can scale it up.
Great, thank you. Another great question from the chat about data. So our data isn't unified, and honestly, it's messy. What's the realistic way to start, like tomorrow, so we're still set up for success?
Great question again. Yeah, good news. You are not alone, okay, and you know don't need perfect data lake to begin with. Okay. You need probably a clean slice for one topic, right? And I've used this phrase now multiple times over this last 20 odd minutes. Choose one category, one region, right? Pull 12, 24 months of history, create a simple uh, Excel file with maybe 5, 6, 10 simple fields, right? Supplier ID, item, UNSPC, quantity, price, dates, uh, very simple set of fields, right? And then add a tiny contract classes library, couple of templates for your RFX, give read-only access through simple exports or very basic APIs, right? Then each week, look at um, a small comparison, right? Uh, are there values, duplicates, strange outliers? So when you see those obvious gaps, fix it. Okay. If you don't, if you see only say minimal number of gaps, that's a brilliant enough truth for the first agent to be useful, right? And then you can scale it up from there. Okay? And I can give you a lot of examples, like where one easy example is a distributor in US, one of our client started uh, by sending us simple uh, CSV every week, right? Every Monday, say, and it was boring. And we said, okay, let's have our pilot do it, and we swapped the CSV for a API and started having this AI agent um, do that report, right? And when people started seeing the benefit, it made everyone's life easy. Yeah.
Excellent. And we have time for one last question from the audience, and then we'll close out after this. So here it is. How do we run a pilot the right way? What should we measure? And how long should we run it? And how do we decide scale, adjust, or stop?
Great question to probably end our session here, right? And here's the playbook I keep coming back to. Step one: measure all those tiny set of things that would be your success metrics, right? Um, so, how long does your RFX to award take? Uh, how many steps can be done without human intervention? How many policy problems were prevented? How much savings really happened? Okay, how many people or how much uh, lesser number of folks were involved uh, this time, right? So have those metrics, right? And run these AI pilots or the first initial uh, initiatives, right? And run this the outcomes, compare them side by side for the probably say 6 to 10 weeks, right? Today's process versus the agent assisted version. We keep humans in approvals, we log everything, but at the end of the week, end of the day, we publish one simple page, right? Before, after the control design we used, the few real decisions the agent supported with sources, and one learning we turned into a new rule, right? Now make it a weekly one, let the procurement finance sign it, and then we make a decision whether we are seeing that real impact, right? And once you see it, scale it up, right? If it works, clone the exact pattern to the next category, next region. And if it doesn't, you would know why, and correct it. And for me, this that one lane, one metric, one quarter, that rhythm works very well. Okay, it helps get the leaders on board. It helps us scale with a very less technology debate. Okay, I think that's the difference between a demo and a uh, validated value addition.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all this really critical information. Um, this all the time we have for today. I did want to do a quick shout out to our GEP Innovate event that is happening in New Orleans, November 3rd to the 5th. You are still able to register for that event. If you go to gep.com, you can find all the information and the ability to register. And we highly encourage that you attend. And thank you so much, Cardigan, for your time. And it was great speaking with you today.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. And probably before we close the session, all right, if I have to just summarize my whole session into a few sentences. First thing, Agentic AI is a goal-driven teammate, right? Treated like having another individual human. You set the outcome, it plans, acts, inside your rules. It shows its sources. It leaves a record you can trust. And start where the work is repetitive. Rules are very clear. Keep uh, humans in the loop wherever it matters. Measure the outcomes. If it works, copy it, scale it up. And one thing again, uh, Gen AI writes, but agentic AI works inside your rules. So, and again, thanks, Alex, and thanks everyone.
Thank you so much. Everyone, have a great day and thanks for joining.